Okay, so this chapter discusses emotion, aggression, and stress. So emotion is a subjective mental state that is usually accompanied by distinctive behaviors, feelings, and involuntary physiological changes. So these emotions emphasize bodily responses in the sympathetic nervous system as well as the parasympathetic nervous system. So there are a few different theories about emotion, one of them being James Lang theory. And he argued that bodily responses evokes the emotional experience. So he'd say that there's a stimulus and then you perceive it, and then a specific pattern of autonomic arousal brings out a particular response. And then there's the Cannon-Barth theory, which says that our experience of emotion is independent of the stimulus, that the stimulus causes psychological changes that accompany it. So Cannon-Barth insisted that the brain must interpret the situation to decide which emotion is appropriate. So he would say that there's a stimulus, you perceive it, and then you would have general arousal, as well as a particular emotion experience, like fear, sadness, happiness, something like that, and then you would respond from that experience. And then there's the cognitive attribution model, which is a theory that our emotional experience results from cognitive analysis of the context around us, such that the psychological changes may accumulate emotions but not specify which emotion we experience. So there's something called a lie detector, which is also known as a polygraph, which it's very controversial because they are not always 100% accurate. So it uses like respiration and heart rate and things like that. And it's hooked up to you. It's a machine, and people ask you questions and you answer them, and it monitors the likelihood that you're lying. So there's two different branches of psychology that really look at emotion, aggression, and stress. There's evolutionary psychology, which is devoted to asking how natural selection has shaped behavior in humans and other animals. And then there's also individual response stereotype, which is the tendency of individuals to show the same response pattern in particular situations throughout their lifespan. So it's kind of like developing a personality trait and then sticking to it for the rest of your life. So there's different levels of intensity. So a high level would be loathing, grief, amazement, terror, anything like that. Medium would be joy, affection, surprise, sadness, and low would be alertness, happiness, regard, apprehension, and things like that. So then there are superficial facial muscles that attach to the facial skin and deep facial muscles that attach to bone. And there's also one important nerve running through the face called the facial nerve, which is also cranial nerve 7, which receives information from the face and controls the superficial muscles that attach to the skin.